Now, Communications and Digital Technologies Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams appeared in Parliament yesterday discussing digital migration, the fourth industrial revolution and more as she delivered her budget vote. Tefo Mohapi from iAfrikan joins me in studio to unpack that now. Tefo, thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Firstly, what is digital migration?
I think simply put, it's moving us from analog signal to digital signal. But the main benefit of that is that we'll have capacity to have more channels. And as you can imagine, that opens up the industry quite a bit.
Okay, Ndabeni-Abrahams saying that promising a new broadcasting digital migration model, what should that look like?
I think before we even get to how the model should look like, they should start by implementing it, because we've had, I think, one of the first deadlines was mid-2015, and that never happened for the migration of South Africa to digital. And I think the latest one, according to the ITU, was supposed to be end of June, and we've missed that one as well. So I think even before we get our hopes high on the DTT model and how it should look like, we wait, and I think everybody's a bit cynical to jump the gun and say, it's going to happen. We want to see if it's going to happen first.
I mean, we know that our previous communications minister also promised that it would be done by 2020. Do you know what the holdup is or why there is this problem of migration?
To be honest, I don't really know. I don't think anybody really knows the details of why it's not happening. But I think you need to understand that in switching over to digital, to DTT, it also frees up spectrum for allocating 5G spectrum for mobile service providers. So it could be issues around that to make sure that everything is ready at the same time, so that when DTT is implemented, which eventually frees up spectrum to be allocated to mobile service providers, then they're ready to sort of run a tender process or whatever they're going to run to allocate that.
And how does 5G technology come into this? How will it work? How will it affect the different areas?
It won't affect broadcasting as much. As I said, it will only be affected in the sense that spectrum will be freed up for telecommunications companies. Spectrum would be the radio frequencies that our phones work on, the frequencies that broadcasting television works on. So that would be freed up to be allocated to telecommunications companies.
Oh, I
so
see.
That's where 5G would be affected.
Okay, there's a lot of talk about the fourth industrial revolution. We saw the minister and the deputy minister also dressed in for our jackets. You said there's confusion about what exactly the fourth industrial revolution is. So perhaps while you're here, you can break it down for us in a very quick masterclass.
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing to understand is that it's coined by Klaus Schwab, who's the founder of the World Economic Forum, the WEF. I think in a nutshell, he talks about the different industrial revolutions, the first, the second, and the most recent one being the third, which many people confuse with the fourth, because the third is about digitizing the world. It's about robotics, it's about automation, it's about ICT, it's about digital technologies. That's the third industrial revolution. And when you talk the fourth industrial revolution, according to Schwab, you're talking about artificial intelligence, you're talking about machine learning, you're talking drones, you're talking those advanced technologies that require certain things to be in place first.
Okay. With the fourth industrial revolution and automation and machine learning, there's a lot of fear around how it affects not only jobs, the way we live, the way we learn, the way we eat, the way we consume everything, and how people will relate. What are the ways that it's going to affect broadcasting and communication in particular?
I think it will open up the industry a bit more. I think currently with the analog signal, and if you look at countries that have already moved forward to 5G, to all those technologies, you find that their broadcasting or their media industries are opened up more with more players. So as you can see, I mean, you've already started seeing it in South Africa with slowly internet data coming down. You get new models for media. You're not required to be at the SABC, for instance, to have a TV program. You can run that on YouTube or something like that, or on your own website. So it opens up. And with 5G, that just speeds up how quickly people can download that data or that media.
Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Tefo Mohapi from iAfrikan joining us in studio there. It's time for a short break. When we come back, more news. Do stay with us.